Good evening, everyone. We welcome you to the webinar, and we're glad that everybody could make it. In spite, everybody's homebound, so I hope everybody has been taking care. My name is Anand Taparia. I take care of marketing here at Utthunga Technologies, and it is really my pleasure to have so many of us join today for this webinar. As you know, the topic of today's webinar is on PROFIBUS Network Maintenance. So two of our experts would be talking more about it, and I would soon introduce them. Just to keep the flow of the webinar, we will have question and answer just at two places, primarily at the end. Once we will have at the midway point for about a few minutes while we're transitioning from one speaker to the next, just for a few minutes. And towards the end, we will have a 10-minute question and answer session. The entire webinar is going to be for 60 minutes, and it includes 10 minutes of Q&A time. At the end of this session, we will also be sharing the presentation, the link of the recorded video. So, you would be getting all these details, so you may not have to take too many notes. I would now like to introduce our speakers, Nirmal and Angad, to you. Nirmal, could you move to the next slide? Okay, thank you. So Nirmal has 10 years of experience in test and automation and communication protocols. He's also API CC certified installer and has deep experience working with various protocols. He would be covering the first half of the session today. Angad, who's going to join in the second half, is also a PROFIBUS and PROFINET specialist with deep experience with going to multiple industries and installations and understanding of the various errors and issues that are encountered on the plant. Angad will help you with we'll talk more about the product and help you identify the right diagnostic tool for your network. So without any delay, I would like Nirmal to take over and take us through the rest of the session today.
Thank you, Anand. Good evening, everyone. Let's get started. So as part of today's agenda, we will be having three sections. So first is a brief description of what exactly is PROFIBUS and the communication technology, the standards used, the quality parameters, and what are the general issues that are identified that are seen when we visit plants. And as a second section, we would be discussing on the permanent monitoring solutions that is available and how can we use this permanent monitoring solution kits to detect the logical and physical issues that arise in the network. And a real-time scenario will also be explained by my colleague Angad. And as a third section, we will briefly look into what PROFINET is, and what are the advantages, what is the difference between PROFIBUS and PROFINET communications. So just an overview on Utthunga Technologies. We are established, we are headquartered at Bangalore, and we have our 4 branches in US, Germany, and Japan. And we are now 12 years with 500 plus professionals. And we are basically focused on process factory automation industries, and also we provide services based on products or embedded and software and hardware quality. And our solutions are, we have solutions with IoT data connectivity, and we also build custom solutions of our. So Utthunga Technologies has partnered with our Endosol. This is a German company, so we are partnered with them. They have huge experience in in diagnostics solutions for Profibus and PROFINET protocol technologies. So, so what we do with them is we have network specializations, and we leverage this in having a better mechanism of controlling networks, localizing weaknesses where we would help our clients in understanding what the issues are or where the issues are in their site, and probably reduce the footprint of the issues so that the complete network is not disturbed or hampered because of an issue present point in the network. And we also ensure to have a better system availability, and a reduced breakdown or shutdown time for the plants. So some of the where Utthunga is visible, or where Utthunga has been part of, is in Fielcom groups, the EtherCAT OPC Foundation, ISA, the ISA 100, and PICC, FDT groups, ODWA community. So a brief about PROFIBUS and PROFINET International. It is the largest automation community in the world and responsible for PROFIBUS and PROFINET technologies. The PI has a worldwide support, and currently we have around 25 RPAs, regional PI associations, 63 plus competence centers, and 32 training centers and 11 test laboratories. So this, with such a wide footprint, we have enabled a better way of promoting Profibus and Profinet technologies and giving additional support to the clients, and in having a better stable systems and a reliable technology for their daily operations. So as part of today's discussion, what we'll be looking into is Profibus technology from maintenance perspective. Okay. So I will be touching on what is Profibus protocol and the addressing mechanism that is used in Profibus technology, and how the Profibus communication works, and some of the signal aspects that we need to look into in Profibus, and the communication standards and physical requirements of maintaining terminations in Profibus line segments, and impedance values that are required to be maintained in the Profibus. So Profibus is process field binary unit system. So this is one of the protocols that is used in industrial automation. So we have different industrial automation protocols such as HART, wireless HART, Profibus, Profinet, Foundation Field Bus, ISA 100 technologies. So in adapting these technologies, Profibus also has a major footprint in the industry. Now, Profibus itself has two types, Profibus DP and Profibus PA. Now, Profibus DP stands for decentralized peripheral, and Profibus PA is for process automation. When DP uses RS-485 technology, the Profibus PA uses Manchester bus-powered intrinsic safety. So where safety is utmost concern, and to reduce we use the PA technology in hazardous areas. So both the Profibus technologies use a concept of master-slave principle, where the communication between in the system happens when a master requests for a data and a slave responds to the data with the data required. So from Profibus addressing, in Profibus, we can, like I said before, it's a master-slave system. So a Profibus network can have multiple masters. There are basically two types of masters. We call them as class 1 masters and class 2 masters. The class 1 master is basically your controller, and a class 2 master can be any your PC or your service diagnostic tools or any programming tools that are used. Okay. The address range supported by Profibus is from 0 to 126. 0 is considered for your class 2 masters, and multiple class 1 masters can be used in the network, and preferably the addresses for masters start from 1, and the rest of the slaves in the network can get an address between 3 to 125. So, and 126 is an address set for as a default address for the slaves in the factory. Sorry, 126 is used as a factory default address for the slave devices. So, a brief view on how the master system works. So if initially, let's assume that this is a single master communicating to 4 slaves. So in this scenario, initially master 2 will be sending a request to 10. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the animation work. Okay, Angad, can you help me here, please? Okay, so what this animation was supposed to do is, say master sends a data from 2 to 10 requesting for data, and 10 responds back with a response. And then to master 2 raises a request to 31, and 31 responds back with the data. And master 2 again then polls to 12, and 12 responds back, and then master 2 polls for 13, and 13 responds back. So in this, the point to be highlighted is at any point in the network, there's only one device communicating. So multiple communications is not supported. So this is kind of a half duplex communication is what is supported in Profibus. So each packet size of data that can be sent or received, a maximum size is about 244 bytes of data, kilobytes of data. Angad, I'm trying to move to the next slide. Okay. So Profibus Signal uses a 485 communication method.
Angad, we may have lost Nirmal. Do
Yeah,
you want to
yeah, Nirmal
begin?
would have lost the screen. Actually, I will take it over. Profibus Signal is having two wire, so mainly green and red. You have seen in the commissioning part. So you have 2.5 and minus 2.5. Adding up, you will get the 5 voltage communication. And each signal is divided into 16 parts. And how it interprets the 0 to 1 transmission, that is shown here clearly. In Profibus communication, a bit signal is split into 16 parts, and the 8 by 16 part is considered to interpret if the bit is logical 0 or 1. For as per PI standard, what is recommended is like voltage should be always greater than 2.2 volt and slope must be less than 5 by 16. So coming to Profibus communication standards. Topology, as we know, it is serial topology. It's a line structure, daisy chain. And in a segment, since it is RS485, in a segment, a maximum of 32 stations only you can have. And mostly you can have only 10 transmission speeds, and the maximum speed you can run in Profibus communication is 12 Mbps. And speed is always dependent on the length. Like 12 Mbps, you can only go up to 100 meters. 9.6 kilobits, you can go up to 1200 meters. Coming to quality parameters in Profibus communication. What are the relevant quality parameters? In Profibus communication, we have found out like physical problem is the 90% issue in the network. Physical problems such as cable length or node issues, and also like connectors or any cable breaks. Most of the issue depend on the physical problems, and 10% issues are on the logical side, like cycle time issues or any error telegrams, repeat telegram, diagnostics telegrams. This will we will take in detail in the next few slides. What are the physical problems? What are the physical problems we are facing in the maintenance level? Shielding is not perfect, or faulty terminations. Terminations is not as per standard, or cable length is exceeded according to the quadrille. As we mentioned, if for 1.5 Mbps, if it is standard is 200 meter, if we exceed above 200 meter, what will happen? Communication will get interrupted. Short circuit in A and B connections. Short circuit will also interrupt the communications, and exceeded number of nodes, slaves. Like in a single segment, Profibus nodes maximum can communicate is 32. If we exceed that limit also, communication will get interrupted. Then wrong type of cables. 150, what we say for Profibus cable is standard impedance is 150 ohms. So if we use a different cable or low standard cable also, your communication will get interrupted. And improper segmentation and electromagnetic interferences. Electromagnetic interferences mainly caused due to the drives. Drives are the mostly used in Profibus network, like high consumption devices. So usually EMI effects in the drives part. Then what are the logical problems? Here is an example: master requesting the 10, slave number 10. Suddenly the data is getting corrupted. Like for example, what is repeat telegram? Repeat telegram is master is asking slave number 10, how are you? Slave number 10 is not responding back. Then what master will do? Master will ask again, how are you? That is a repeat telegram. That is a deviation from the standard. That should not happen in the network. That should not be allowed in the network. This may cause to intermittent failures or tripping in the network. Then what is error telegram? Error telegram, since Profibus is process field binary unit system, it is completely in binary structure, 0, 1, 0, 1, like that communication is going. If any parity bit error or any delimiter error, it is some coding errors comes in the network. This is a error telegram. Then what is diagnostic telegram? Diagnostic telegram is dependent on the slaves. If slaves have an internal issue, like any loose contact or any IO device failure, slaves will give information to master, I have an issue, right? Then missing telegram. What is missing telegram? Like slave 10 is not giving a data back to master. Then that is a missing telegram. These are some logical parameters what we have mentioned for the Profibus networks. So this is what we have at repeater connections. How is the repeater connection? When I was visiting a lot of plants, I have seen repeater connection was not in a proper standard way. You can see here, this is a 2-channel repeater. Most of the people think L1 is one segment, L2 is another segment, but L1 and L2 is a single segment. And the down part also you can see 2 lines. That's also another segment. So there is only 2 segment in this repeater. There is no 4 segment. If you connect L1 and L2 to 2 line also, this is communicating in the same line, like it is a single segment. So when you connect more than 32 devices, it will cause for intermittent failures in the network. That's what I'm trying to explain here. So what we have, advantages of MULTIrep. MULTIrep are very common right now in the Profibus market. So here you can see one architecture in the right side corner that we have connected with our MULTIrep. What is the advantage of MULTIrep? With MULTIrep, you can have 5 to 7 segments, different segments, isolated segments, like galvanically isolated segment. Each segment is not dependent on other segment. Like if one of the node fails, other segment is not getting affected. And moreover, you can get a LED indications of the status of the nodes and status of each segments. That is very important because you can identify the specific problem in each segment with these LED indications. So that is about Profibus technology. This is very brief. If you have any prior questions here, we can, there is a 1 minute, we can answer 2 or 3 questions. If you have any doubts regarding Profibus technology part. Now we will be going to the real-time scenario and how to troubleshoot the issues in the plant or issues in the real-time scenario. Okay, then we will have the Q&A at the final, not an issue. So here I'm going to explain some real-time scenarios, real-time issues, what we found out. When I visited and did a service measurements in a lot of plants, here left side image, you can see shielding was not as recommended. And after the service measurement, we have made the shielding proper. What happens if shielding is not done properly? If shielding is not done properly, grounding will not affect properly, right? So then what happens? The communication will get affected gradually. This will affect for intermittent failures and also the voltage, like communication voltage will get affected. This is the second case. You can see here left side image. Drives are connected using very small steps in a like more than 10 or 15 slides was there. So they connected the drives using very small steps and they had huge intermittent failures during like weekly. They had some failures. The drives are going for off. Drives are suddenly going for restart. Then what maintenance guys does? Maintenance guys goes and restart the controller. Then system starts working again. But what's happening here actually? Due to this small step, the impedance changes. The impedance of Profibus cable is 150 ohms. If impedance changes, the entire communication changes. right? That's what happens in the network. Then what we recommended to the plant is we asked them to make the 1 meter rule. With the 1 meter rule, the drives have specific distance in between and the interferences got reduced. You can see here clearly with 1 meter cable, we have connected the drives. So how to find the solutions, how to find the problem and how to see where is the exact problem in the network. So what we are providing is permanent network monitoring solutions. PROFIBUS Inspector, that is our solution to find exact problem and pinpoint what is the error in the network. PROFIBUS Inspector captures all active devices in PROFIBUS network and display in the web interface. It's a web interface device, based device. And inspector is moreover is a passive monitoring device. Passive monitoring means there is no need of actually interruption in the network. If it is a running plant, we can connect passively. Here you can see to the D9 female port, we have connected the inspector and we can access the inspector through the LAN connection. So it is like 24 hours monitoring, 24 hours monitoring, and it will give detailed information about what is the status of the network. What information? Here you can see error telegrams, repeat telegrams, or any failures in the network, or any diagnostic data. These type of logical information you will get directly from inspector, and inspector stores the complete data. When we open the inspector, this is the browser homepage. Homepage provides a complete overview of your network. You can see how many masters are there in the network, how many slaves are there in the network, what is the address of each slaves, and moreover, there is no requirement of software, and also there is no requirement of internet. It is an IP-based system. You need to just take the IP and connect it to your system, and you will get the complete overview of a network. Moreover, you can print the reports using Word format or PDF. And the key point of inspector is timestamping. What is timestamping? For example, for instance, if your plant or any plant is running for 24 hours, most of the plants will be running for 24 hours, right? So maybe the maintenance engineers will be running only in the morning time. So during when the night shift, any of the issue comes in the PROFIBUS network, you will get the correct notification, and morning when the maintenance engineers comes, he can investigate and find out what happened in the network. That is history of events. Here you can see yellow, that is history of events. Like last day the network had an issue, that we can find out and troubleshoot and investigate and resolve the issue. So for one master, one dedicated inspector. One master, one dedicated inspector. Inspector will be acquiring complete information from master itself in a passive mode. It is a passive data logger. No need of any interruption in the network. The female port of controller will be connecting D9 connector and will be taking reports through the LAN connection. So this is how we can pinpoint the error. Even though we pinpoint the error, we need to know what is the PROFIBUS voltage, right? What PROFIBUS voltage in each node. So for that, we have the PPQ1. PPQ1 is a signal quality tester. It's a measuring and diagnostic tool, especially for commissioning, factory acceptance test, maintenance and services, and moreover also troubleshooting in PROFIBUS lines. So here we can see how, here I'm going to explain how we need to test using PPQ1. PPQ1 we need to test at the start of the segment and end of the segment. Then you will get a complete voltage information. I will get you into detail how is the layout and visualization. PBQ1 is a software-based solution. We need to install the software and connect the PBQ1 to your network. And moreover, it is a passive monitoring device itself. To the female port of your sub T9 connector, you can PG port, you can connect it, and you can directly get the information. Why we call plug and play is because the reaction time to acquire the data for the PBQ1 is less than 3 seconds. So it is very fast. That is why we call it plug and play. When you connect it, you will get the complete layout and information of your network. Here you can see addresses of your slaves. What is the master address? What is the baud rate? What is the cycle time? And what is the number of nodes, slaves in the network? Complete information you will just get in a very less than 3 seconds. So little bit going in detail, if I click the quality values, I can get the detailed oscilloscope. Oscilloscope means cable A and cable B. We just studied cable A and B is having 2.5 and minus 2.5. So it is a differential voltage. So this differential voltage will give you a detailed analysis of the network or specific nodes. Here, bottom side, you can see the bar graph. What is the voltage status of each nodes? And if I click any of the node, I can understand what is the oscilloscope. How is the oscilloscope? Is there any disturbance in the network? These things I can understand. And also you can see what is the voltage and also the slope. So as PI recommends, voltage should be always 2.2 volt and slope should be always less than 5/16. So we need to analyze the plan to understand whether your Profibus nodes or network is in standard or whether it is running in a good condition or stable condition. So this is a real case scenario. When we analyzed one of the plant, you can see the voltages is showing complete yellow. That is below the threshold. This is the threshold, 2.5 volt. It is all, the complete nodes are below 2.5 volt. And voltage you can see 2.37 and slope is 7/16. Moreover, you can see the interferences, harmonics is very bad. Here the issues were mainly improper segmentation, that they connected 2-channel repeater and they connected approximately 45 devices in a single segment. And the second thing we pointed out is they didn't use 1 meter rule to connect drives. There were 30-20 drives and they used small steps. This caused change in impedance. And we find out and we pinpoint the error and resolve the issue. If you want to go in detail, if you want to study more in detail and to understand where is the exact issue in the plant or exact issue in the network, you can go in this detail mode where cable A and cable B shows a oscilloscope and you can point out exact distance where the issue is there. This is for in detail analysis. And the key point for signal quality tester PBQ1 is we can have the automatic topology with correct cable length. Why topology is important in Profibus network? I have visited a lot of plants, but no plant doesn't have a proper topology. They just have an electrical drawing. What will happen in future when the network goes down, Profibus network or communication goes down, maintenance people doesn't know where the nodes are located or what is the cable length of each nodes. After your contract period or AMC period, the maintenance people will be struggling to find out the exact issues in the plant. That's why automatic topology and cable length, we are supporting a lot of plants to analyze and standardize with topology structure and moreover the cable length also. So right now we understood about logical and quality values, how to detect, right? Even though we need to understand what is the exact cable impedance in the network. Since cable impedance of Profibus network is 150 ohms, it is very important to understand whether it is in standard or not. So that's why we have the cable tester, Profi test. What Profi test does? Profi test does is it tests the exact cable length and it is finds out any defects in the cable and shielding errors with specific distance. You can see one example here. Error cable break on shield. Distance is 104 meter. That is, this cable break has happened in 104 meter. Then the maintenance guys can go directly to 104 meter and find out what is the error in the plant. And also you can print the data here. You can log the data here and print it out through a PC. That's also possible. And how we use Profi test. This is just for your visualization. We need to analyze at start of the segment and end of the segment. Profi test is clearly a offline tool. You need to plug the cables out and test it. If you test from the start of the segment till end of the segment, it will test whether the shielding is okay, cable impedance is okay, or any cable break is there. These complete details you will get in one shot, but you have to test at both ends. So that is Profi test, the cable tester. So we have just gone through repeaters. Just to brief it out, this is the repeater architecture what we developed for the customers. You can see X5 repeater, 5-channel repeater what we have used here. What is the advantage? If one node goes down, the other node doesn't goes off, because in Profibus usually we connect in a daisy chain or line topology. If one node goes down, other nodes will get impacted. That will affect your complete plan, right? And the second advantage is complete voltage will be enhanced in each segment. If you check with the PBQ1 or signal quality tester, the voltage will be very good because the repeater always enhances the voltage. And moreover, you will get the signal like LED blinking. Any issues or physical issue or logical issue, you will get information from the LED blinking whether there is an error in the network. And if you want to extend the Profibus network, sometimes if you want to add some more modules, some more drives in the network, if you have a free port, it is very easy to integrate. You can just connect it and do the integration. So we are available with X2, X5 and X7. So that is complete solution from our side for the Profibus technology and the basics of Profibus. Right now I'm taking you through the small exercise to just rewind what we just studied. So what is Profibus? Profibus is process field binary unit system with one cable and 2 wire. It is RS485 communication, simple. And master slave communication technology. It is using master slave communication. That is only one token or one packet at a time. Unicast. Okay. You can see master and slaves. Then what we need to start the communication? Address. Address we studied 0 to 124 is a maximum we can go up to, right? So 0 to 125. After the addressing, what we need? Connections. We need the connection. And what we need next to start the proper communication? Terminations. Where we need to terminate here? 101 and 100. You can see 101 and 100. Why termination is important in the network? Because Profibus cable impedance is 150 ohms. This Profibus connectors is having 3 resistance inside it. So it is put parallel and serial. So it will give an output of 175 ohms. So it will resist the energy flow. Like if energy is flowing from here, you can see 150 ohms. It will be not get reflected if resistance is on here. Like it will be grounded properly. That's why we ask to terminate at the start of the segment and end of the segment. Measurement points that we PBQ1 or signal quality tester, you have to measure at these particular points. Here you can see how the data is transmitting. So we will just take a case here. Slave 3 is having an issue. This is a just think this is a real planned case. Slave 3 is just having an issue. We don't know what is the exact issue. It may be due to the electromagnetic interferences or any cable issues, or it would be a impedance issue. We don't know what is the exact issue. What will happen? There will be a lot of reflections if there is a EMI issue or any impedance issue. Here it will be a lot of reflections. So when master is requesting data to slave number 101, what will happen? The reflections will hit back and master will not get the response from 101. When the data is coming from 101, the data will get reflected from here, right? So master will not receive the proper information from 101. Then master will say 101 is having some issue. But exactly where is the issue? Slave number 3. Then what maintenance guys will do or maintenance engineers will do, they will go and change the cable here or change the connectors here or change the slave here. But is it a right way? No. That's why we suggest permanent monitoring solutions. Permanent monitoring solution, if we implement, it will be monitoring for 24 hours and acquiring complete data. And it will give correct information, like slave number 3 is having a logical error. Then what I need to do? I need to test with PBQ1 and pinpoint the error. With the test, I will understand what is the exact issue. I will repeat this. Profibus inspector, if I connect to the slave, I can understand the specific error in slave number 3. Like if it is a logical transmission error, like error telegram or repeat telegram, any type of error. Then what I will do? I will connect PBQ1 in this segment, and I will understand. I can understand the exact reason for that error due to while understanding the oscilloscope or the slope of the voltage. I can get into detail. So this is our complete package for maintaining Profibus networks. Not only maintaining, for the permanent monitoring solution. You have the supervisor. PLC is always a supervisor, but you need an inspector. Inspector always monitors the data traffic in the communication network, and it will give correct informations and even time stamping, history of events that can reduce your profit loss in the network. PBQ1 for the voltage analysis and the profit test for the cable testing, and this is the EMC check. EMC check is the shield current checking for the Profibus cable. So that is all about Profibus. Right now we are going to a little bit higher topic. This is centralized monitoring solution. If you, for example, if you have more than one network in plan, more than one network means more than one master, more than one Profibus master systems in the network. For example, here it is mentioned 3 master system. If you are having 3 master system, I will install 3 inspectors, because inspector is dedicated for one master system. So 3 inspectors I will install, and I can connect to a single dashboard using ProManage. That is our dedicated software for central monitoring. With that software, you can analyze complete network, like overall network, even it is PROFINET, even it is ASI, even it is CAN bus, any network you can monitor in a single dashboard, and you can get the 24 hours data also. How is the user interface of this software? This user interface is very easy. You can see one inspector here. This is inspector data. It is deviation. Deviation in the data is mentioned here specifically. And you can see this is for 3-4 days it was okay, no issues. And also EMV inspector, that is a different inspector, also can be recorded in a same dashboard. That means if you have 4 to 5 networks, you will get the complete information in a single dashboard. And current network status and how long a network has run without error. Here you can see it can run up to a lot of days and maybe 1 year. You can store the data, complete data, you can store the data and show you the complete information. What is the status of the network? And when is the last error happened? That is timestamping. Even the management level, you can see complete information and give the proper specific email, or via OPC also you can access what is the status of your network. So that is all about Profibus maintenance perspective, and also Profibus what solutions we are providing. So every in India, most of the plants is running in Profibus currently, but every managements are right now focusing on PROFINET. Why? PROFINET is industrial Ethernet. PROFINET is a universal Ethernet based communication network which can be used in all areas of automation technology. It is very easy to integrate to MES layer. MES layer means management executive layer, like corporate layer. You can integrate very easily because it is a Ethernet based solution. So here we have designed some differences. What is the basic differences between Profibus and PROFINET? Profibus is serial field bus, while PROFINET is industrial Ethernet standard. Profibus is two-wire communication that we mentioned earlier. It is half duplex, while PROFINET is Ethernet standard, like four-wire communication. It is full duplex, like I can talk and listen at the same time. That is why we are getting a 100 Mbps speed and even 1 gigabit speed, while Profibus can only go up to 12 Mbps speed, and it is a serial communication. While PROFINET can have tree, star, ring, line, any topology. And number of slaves in PROFINET is 255. Not slaves, we cannot mention slaves in PROFINET. PROFINET we call controller and IO devices, while in Profibus we call master and slave. Technology in Profibus is master slave. Already we discussed, and in PROFINET technology is provider and consumer, that is broadcast. In PROFINET, connector types are RJ45, that is similar to Ethernet standard, but we recommend industrial Ethernet connectors. Why? Because proper grounding has to be taken in the network, otherwise future problems will come out. And in Profibus, sub-D9 connector. These are the basic differences between Profibus and PROFINET. Then coming to the main problem right now. Right now, most of the people want to transfer to PROFINET, from Profibus to PROFINET. How we can do? If we are using Siemens system, most of the Siemens system is having an interface card. You can change the interface card, and using some proxies and couplers, you can change gradually. Like step by step, you can change to PROFINET. That's one solution. But even though, if you are changing to PROFINET, what you need to look it up? You need to check complete quality parameters. Like in Profibus, we have some quality parameters and standards. Right now, we've gone through 1 meter rule or shielding, or you have to error telegram, repeat telegram, these types of things. But in PROFINET, quality parameters are jitter, load ratio, and net load. These 3 points has to be taken care, otherwise your network will be very vulnerable. But I'm not discussing much about this today, because that we can discuss in a webinar second section. If the feedback is good, if the feedback wanted for the PROFINET, if you have any feedback for PROFINET, we can go for PROFINET webinar next section in detail. I'm not discussing much about what is jitter or what is load ratio or what is net load. That is a huge topic to discuss today. So what is important in PROFINET? In PROFIBUS, we need to do proper maintenance, proper testing, or proper monitoring. But in PROFINET, quality starts from the planning of architecture. You can see in the left side, we have developed one architecture for one of our clients with exact standards. Standards means in PROFINET, load is the main issue. If the load is not splitted properly, the network will go out. Network will go out means maybe if you have some conveyors, these conveyors will go for intermittent tripping, then the production line will stop. That's the main issue. So here we are designed with our own switches. We have our switches P9 and P20. This is the only switch in the market right now with EMC facility, like leakage current monitoring. It can monitor leakage current remotely, like a web browser. We have a web browser and we can monitor leakage current. And it is the class 3 certified switches. Class 3 certified means it can sustain up to 20% load in the network. And similar to Profibus Inspector, we have the PROFINET Inspector. That is more similar to Profibus, not similar to Profibus, sorry. And you can see it is more intelligent. You can see a screen. In the screen itself, you can have complete details, and even you can see what is the alarms and what is the details in the screen itself. So the basic, or what is the agenda, what we did, what is the conclusion? What I want to say is we need to do proper planning in the network or proper maintenance in the network, or we need to do permanent monitoring in the network, or we need to see what is the status of your Profibus communication. Otherwise, what will happen? Your network will go failure, the production line stops, then only you will come up. We are here to support you for complete solutions, like for even for the products, or if you want a service measurement, we are here. You can ask our support. We will help you out, and we will also work as partners for the moving and support you continuously for running your plant continuously and training purpose also. Even if you want a deep learning into Profibus, we can conduct plant trainings like for Profibus and PROFINET, and also we can do the service measurements. So this will make your network more stable and healthy. So if you have any questions, we can have it now. We can clarify it and we can further move. And if you have any clearance, if you have any plant issues right now, if you are facing any issues in the plants, we can discuss here.
Great. Thank you, Angad. There are quite a few questions that have come to directed towards my ID.
Okay.
Going to speak a few. We have 5 minutes to go. So I would request if you could cover as many. And for the remaining, which we're not able to cover, we will respond via email. The first question, if you can answer, Angad, is what is the difference between inspector and profit trace?
Inspector?
Inspector and profit tracer. Okay, maybe if this is not relevant to our discussion.
Inspector and
Profibus
Inspector and profit trace. That is entirely different. Profit trace is entirely different solution. What Profibus Inspector does is it is a permanent monitoring solution, or PROFINET Inspector does is a permanent monitoring solution. It gives you a complete overview of your plant. Also, it runs for 24 hours with a time stamping, with a history of events. That is a unique thing. PROFINET Inspector is a unique thing, and Profibus Inspector gets you timestamping as well as you have the complete overview in the remote access also.
Okay, thank you. The next question, can we do time synchronization using Profibus Inspector?
No, we cannot do any settings to the plant with the inspector. Inspector is a passive monitoring. Passive monitoring means it can only listen. It can only listen to what is the data, what is the traffic in the network, and it can also analyze and give you some predictions. And also it will give, this is the error in the network. These type of quality issues are happening in the network. that can avoid your maintenance activity and reduce your loss in the network.
Okay. The next question is from Sangam. Is asking, brief us more regarding slope less than 5 by 16. How to measure it?
Yeah, that is a good question. How to measure it? How to measure the bar graph, slope, and also the voltage? We need the signal quality tester, PBQ1. With the PBQ1, I can measure what is the slope of your network or each nodes, and moreover, your what is the voltage in each nodes, and also the oscilloscope. What is the oscilloscope type? Oscilloscope will be having some interferences. These can also be measured in your plant with our devices.
Okay. Prakash is asking, in topology, how the label cable length is calculated?
Cable length calculation is quite easy using Profibus like PBQ1, signal quality tester, what we have. What we have to do is signal quality tester, we have to test at the master and end of the segment. And you will get the complete topology with the exact cable length automatically. That's a unique technology what we have.
Okay. Nishali is asking, can you please share the address mapping for Profibus communication through mail? So that's a question we need to answer.
Yeah, sure. We can give you support, sir. That's not an issue. We can give you the address mapping, and even we can give the integration support. We are not only doing the analysis services, we are helping in the integration part also.
Okay. Nanda is asking, the cable shielding is on one side or both side?
Cable?
Cable shielding is on one side or both side?
Cable shielding has to be taken care in every points, like every connectors. Like if you are having a 10 nodes or 10 Profibus nodes, you have to do proper shielding in every nodes. Otherwise, these nodes will have a leakage current. This leakage current will affect the bit transmission. This bit transmission will affect the logical issue. That's why we say physical issue is bonded together with logical. So any physical issue will affect for your intermittent failures in the production. So production plan will go for failures and your plan will have some losses. So to avoid losses, what we say, install permanent monitoring solutions and analyze your plant and see what is the status of your network.
Okay. And just probably time for one more question, or one or two. The next question is, if you want to check the instrument to PC communication, then which is the software to use?
I didn't get that. Can you repeat?
If you want, so the question is that if somebody wants to check the connection from the instrument to PC,
Okay.
what's the software for that?
Yeah, for the PBQ1, we have a dedicated software, PBQ Suite. You have to install it. It is a free software along with the product. So you have to install it in your system and you can connect through the USB port to our PBQ1, and PBQ1 can be connected to the any PG port. Like Profibus connectors will be having a female port. Any female port you can connect and get the complete information.
Okay. Last question, Angad. After how many nodes are repeater needed?
Hello, I didn't get it.
The last question is, that's all the time we have. Like how many nodes and then you need a repeater?
31 nodes. After 31 nodes, we have to connect a repeater, because repeater is also considered as a node in the, not as a slave, but it considered as a node in the network, which is because it is RS-485 communication. It is like energy flowing through the complete cables. Like energy, if it is flowing, it has to be grounded properly, as well as it has to be enhanced. Enhanced means you have to put repeaters. So 31 nodes is recommended in a single segment. But I have seen in a lot of plants, they are exceeded the length for the cost cutting as well as to reduce the work, but it will cost in for the intermittent failures. How you can know these nodes are exceeded is by the permanent monitoring solution, and as well as PPQ1, you can understand what is the exact issue in the network.
Okay, we'll just do the one last question, Angad.
Okay.
What kind of services do you provide apart from these 24 monitoring tools?
Apart from the tools, we do the troubleshooting services. Like if you have a intermittent failures in the network, right now I have shown some images like drives, or shielding. This what we did in a measurement services. So we have done a like 15 or 20 services last 6 months. So we do measurement services and we resolve the issues in the plant and give them proper recommendations what they need to do to maintain the network healthy and stable.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Angad. There are quite a few questions still not answered, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have. The questions, a lot of that we have received, we will make sure that we answer each of them in
Okay,
our PD
we will
that
reach out
Angad
to you.
covered here,
Okay.
and also the link of the recording. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and have a safe stay and stay indoors. Be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.